day for the Baltimore Ravens. A.J. Brown pushing off. He pushed off. I don't care what y'all said. He pushed off as Mike Patton is joining in. After he pushed off, you know what happened? They said, nope, they didn't call it. Touchdown. Okay, that's cool. Tennessee will go up 10-0. All right. Look like, Ravens got to go back to doing Ravens things. And this is the difference between this year versus last year. They did not get away from their game. They went back. They established the run, and it took a big play from Lamar Jackson. Even though they had that field goal, to the big play from Lamar Jackson to tie the game, and then the Ravens came back out. Man, oh, man. Mike, how you feeling today, brother?
What's going on, man? Hey, I said before the game, either it's going to be Derrick Henry is going to be the daddy of that defense, or Lamar Jackson is going to be the daddy of the Titans defense. Turns out Lamar Jackson was living the dad life today, as you can see. Dad life going on. So.
He was all over the place. It was times where, it was some play calling. I was looking, I was like, why y'all keep going for that play action up the middle? I mean, the option, read option, sending Lamar up the middle 4 times in a row. It didn't work, but that 5th time it did. But Derrick Henry, there was a lot of plays. Like I've been watching this guy, and I know I would say this: the Ravens contained him, and I put shutdown in the hashtag. Because, that's what I do. I'm trolling. But they contained them, right? However, there was also a point in time where I believe that I don't understand why Tennessee didn't go for, in like those 4th or 3rd and 2, or like those really close. I felt like maybe he could have got a yard there. So I don't know. I'm glad they didn't. What a heck of a game, man.
Yeah, definitely a good game. I would say that the Ravens took it personally the last game, and it showed. Definitely defensively, Calais Campbell and Brandon Williams being in there made a huge difference. I would also say that, there is a missing persons report that's being filed in Nashville, and that'll be filed for Mr. Corey Davis because he didn't even show up today. Had 0 catches the entire game. And, that cannot happen in the playoffs. That's where you make your money. And it is what it is. And, of course, the Titans defense was who the Titans defense has been pretty much the entire year. They could not make the plays they needed to make. They did play better today, but they could not make the plays they needed to make to win the game. Hats off to the Ravens. They did what they had to do. Lamar Jackson was Lamarvelous, and as Rita would say, but they definitely did what they were supposed to do, and they won the game. And now the home team is 0-5 in these matchups. So if it happens next year and the Titans are in Baltimore, then it could flip. But you never know, and you got to give your hats off to the Ravens. And I loved at the end that they actually stomped on the logo. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, it was hilarious. One of the things, what's up, Mike B, tuning in? Everybody asking me,
am I good?
I'm like,
good? Man, I'm fine, man. It's just a football game. I'm good.
Well, I mean, let's be real, bro. Was it last year you had to deal with the Super Bowl loss? I believe you said you were a bigger Niners fan anyway. So that was tough. You know what I mean?
That was a little tough, but hey, I've been blessed enough to see them be successful and see them, be good as well. It hurt, but it doesn't hurt worse than the first one against the Ravens.
Yeah, that's true.
That one probably hurt worse.
Well, that should have been a blowout. Let's be real. The lights don't get turned out on purpose. That's a blowout. But it allowed.
Well, I could thank Beyonce for that one. Just thank you, Beyonce, for that one.
I always said with that one during that game, I said we're not that much better than the Niners, but we got some momentum, and the second half clearly showed that. Was it unforgivable?
You see the comment down there?
Which one?
You see the comment down there? Somebody said, "Yo, that was disrespectful." How they feel about stomping on the Titans logo? I actually don't feel bad about it because I'm like, hey, the Titans did it first. They came back and did it. It's all fair and loving football. It's what it is.
You're gonna be able to take it. Like I mentioned on before you got here. For those just tuning in, thank you for joining. Download the Haps app if you haven't done so. You get quite a few coins. Use those coins to support other broadcasters like myself and Mike. here's the thing. It's one thing to come out there and like last year they came in, they did what they had to do, they beat the Ravens. But then when the guy went to the podium, and you obviously would know his name, he's irrelevant to me, and he was saying all this stuff about Derrick Henry, I said, man, look, okay, you went too far. I get it, but you didn't have to do that. Mark Ingram wasn't saying that. He wasn't particularly, he did something himself or whatever. Then the logo stomp and all that was uncalled for. Like, y'all won. What are y'all doing that for? What did the Ravens do? It's not like the Ravens said anything. So for them to come to Baltimore and do that, and then you saw Malcolm Butler, who was very annoying today. That play with Dez Bryant, kind of. And shout out to Dez Bryant. First playoff victory since the Detroit game. I know he wasn't really in the I see somebody's upset about the Ravens. I know he really wasn't he didn't have a catch, which the field looks slippery to me. And I'm saying that. I'm sitting there like, what wide receivers are certainly slipping. But I thought that with the Ravens, they played a heck of a game. The offense really, they took what Tennessee could give them. It was some questionable plays. I was sitting there watching. I'm saying, why are you guys going for these, why are you keep going for that play, the read option, and why not use Gus and Dobbins more? But in the end, when it counted, you could see they did what happened to them last year. They wore Tennessee's defense out, and they kept Derrick Henry off the field. As good as Derrick Henry is, you have to look. Everybody knows he gets better in the fourth quarter. And because he gets better in the fourth quarter, you got to look out for it. And then the Ravens, I think they did a great job doing just that.
I think the one thing that caught up to the Titans today, they were on their third offensive tackle on the left side. Taylor Lewan out for the year. Then the backup gets hurt out for the year. Quisenberry's there. So that definitely played a factor. And just basically the physicality of the Ravens. They were playing on the other side of the football front. That was huge. That was huge for the Ravens because they were basically setting the line of scrimmage, a new line of scrimmage on the other side of the ball. And the Titans could never regain that edge that they had physically the first game. They never could regain it.
Yeah, and I'm looking at some of the Facebook comments. My cousin Joe says, what do we say now? Kick butt Ravens. Kelsey Nicole Nelson, let's go Ravens. Would have went for the flock. Either Mason, we did it. Chris Murray tuning in. There was no offensive pass interference on the next to the last drive. The Titans pushed off on their first touchdown. That should have been called. And then Malik Jackson says, great W. I thought the Facebook comments
Can I address that offensive pass interference and the pass interferences?
Mm-hmm.
All right. The first one, yeah, I can get that one. There's a pass interference. I get that. But they both were pushing each other, so I don't think the referee kind of called that one. The second one, it was and it wasn't pass interference.
Which one? Which one?
The one on the fourth down where Snead was called for pass interference.
Okay.
Yeah, that one was and it wasn't. It was because Snead went in with no intention to catch the football or run a route. It wasn't because Snead really didn't touch him. So that's why I was like, it was, but it wasn't. So that's why I was like, yeah, I kind of get the call and I don't get the call at the same time. Yeah,
and that's the thing right there. My thing is just be fair, right? I was flipping back and forth between the broadcast and the telecast, the megacast, and because to be honest with you, I'll tell you why I turned off the megacast. I didn't like Rex Ryan going out there commenting, saying he don't like these little runt receivers about Marquise Brown. I'm just like, come on now, like, shut up. This is the reason why you're in Bristol and not on somebody's sideline. Just to me, that just sounded disrespectful. It was that play that Lamar did. He went for the same play that worked against the Browns, and even Keyshawn said, you got to sell out for that reception. You got to reach out for that. So that's the reason why I didn't like that. But, that Keyshawn Johnson said, at least you got to sell that. If you're Willie Snead, you got, like you just said, at least look like you are a receiver in that motion. He said, he put his butt out, which you're not supposed to do because it's a big play. And that was disappointing. I will say, as a Ravens fan, watching Lamar push off, wave off the kicking team, we've seen that 100 times in Baltimore. There's times it works. It works most of the time when Lamar does it than it doesn't, because there's times it hasn't worked. But I was sitting there, I was like, oh boy, this will be that one time that it come back and haunt them. Thankfully, it didn't, and Justin Tucker comes in there, makes a field goal, which people surprised when he missed the other one. I honestly, I'm a realist. If you're playing, you're playing in elements, right? And a lot of times Tucker is automatic, but you do have to look at elements. When he beat Denver, that was a win in a cold place. So I was like, a lot of Tucker misses those field goals. That's like when they're up, those opportunities to extend the lead. And so I was a little like, well, I'm glad he made that one. But I thought the Ravens could have put the game away right there.
Yeah, definitely could have. And Justin Tucker missing that field goal is that was some 2020-ish right there. That's all I can say on that one, because you don't see it very much.
and it was a couple years ago he missed a game time field goal against New Orleans, and he became a meme. And it was just like, really, it was an extra point. My boy Antoine Sumter says, let me ask Ravens fans this: for as long as you guys been fans, have you guys ever seen the style offense from the Ravens ever? Or was the first? It's always been a pass first team. Well, they've always been a run first team. You go back to the days of Jamal Lewis. The Ravens have never been able to draft that fearful wide receiver, right? As much as like Torrey Smith is my favorite wide receiver and one of my favorite players on the team, but he was a very respected wide receiver. But they never been able to draft that top 5, top 10 in the league wide receiver. We had Anquan Bolden here, and he was kind of like a dog. There was a thing going out and said, if you were if you could have 2 people, a player on offense, a player on defense, to for your team to have one more run, who would it be? For me, it would have been Ed Reed and Anquan Bolden, because you look at those clutch moments. But that's the thing, the run game has always been solid here in Baltimore.
Yeah, definitely. I don't get that comment talking about the passing game, because definitely the Ravens have definitely always been a run team with Jamal Lewis, and going on back, definitely. The Titans have definitely been that team as well, but the Titans, they just they're probably going to lose their offensive coordinator this offseason too. That's another thing to mention. Arthur Smith is on everybody's head coaching list right now.
It's funny you say that. It's funny you say that, because I haven't heard nothing about Wink Martindale or Greg Roman this year.
Well, I know Greg Roman's not getting a job, but as far as he's lucky to keep his, I would say. But Wink Martindale, potentially, you potentially could get a job, but I don't think. I honestly think he'll be back. He'll be back there next year, to be honest.
Yeah, a lot of people ask you, can this Ravens offense be one that wins the Super Bowl, right? And if I take my bias out of it, right, I will say the offense is running the football. A lot of people see Lamar and they see the home run plays, and to me, what they're missing is the fact that you got 2 guys who can run over, or 3 guys who can run over 1,000 yards, right? In Edwards, Ingram, and Dobbins. So I do think they can win the Super Bowl, because obviously the thing that's always sexy for the highlights are the big run, the cool plays that Lamar do, but they don't see the ground and pound, right? And they don't see, Lamar doing the play action passes. He has a solid tight end in Andrews, and Marquise Brown, we saw it today, who was non-existent last year. Actually, the last 2 meetings against the Titans, we saw him making, quick catches and extending the plays.
Yeah. Oh, boy. I'm sorry. I'm just thinking over this game, and I keep seeing the comments over here, too.
My pastor tuned in. I said my pastor tuned in on Facebook and says, if we keep running, we'll keep up with anyone. He says, just keep controlling, just keep running and controlling the clock. Shout out to my pastor Dr.
I'll say
Derek
this.
L.
I'll say this about the Ravens. I like the Ravens and how they're constructed. Do I think they can beat the Kansas City Chiefs? No. Here's the reason why I don't think they can beat the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm not trying to down the Ravens for all the Ravens fans. I'm not trying to down them. I'm just throwing my opinion out there. But the only reason I think they don't beat the Ravens, the Chiefs, is because I don't think they have enough weapons in the as far as defensive weapons to take on their offensive weapons. Because I don't know who's taking Kelsey. You got Hardman, you got Le'Veon Bell. You can line up in the slot too. You've got all those different guys, and I think Marcus Peters, as well as he played today, I don't think he plays well against that team and all those weapons. That's where, and they know him from being in Kansas City, so that's part of the issue I have there. But I still think they're capable of winning the Super Bowl and being that team, or going to the Super Bowl, but I can't put them over the Chiefs right now. The Bills, I can see them beating the Bills. I can see that happen. But I can't see them in good conscience beating the Chiefs at this point.
Well, okay, so in the history of Lamar Jackson versus Patrick Mahomes, because that's what we have to go with, right? This year was a blowout. It's 34-20, but the Chiefs have ran away with that game. I think at one point it was 34-13. You go back to the first lady says the Ravens will turn into the Super Bowl Ravens next week. The Ravens, all right, 28-33. And I believe that was the play. No, it was in December of 2018 when they lost in overtime by 3, where the Ravens had him, and Lamar Jackson obviously wasn't fully Lamarvelous yet, but I think the issue there was that they didn't blitz on a third down where they could have had Mahomes. And understanding both teams gotten better, but it comes to this, controlling the clock. I think mentally Baltimore fans have to prepare for Kansas City next week. It would be nice to go to Buffalo, but I think that we do have to mentally prepare. Cameron says that Andy Reid will lose the game for KC. He makes bad calls and late decisions. The Ravens keep it close. Reid will lose the game. That's another thing. John Harbaugh wants to. He hasn't beaten Andy Reid, if I'm not mistaken, unless they played in Philly. But I don't think he's beaten him.
I don't know about that talk of Andy Reid losing the game for Kansas City, because if I'm correct, didn't he win the game for Kansas City last year in the Super Bowl? Didn't he win the game against the Titans when they were down by 10 or so points? So I don't know if I buy into that one, because I think Andy Reid's kind of gone over that little, I guess, blip on his radar that he couldn't win the big games. So,
yeah, absolutely. And I know we got New Orleans and Chicago coming up, so definitely appreciate everybody tuning in. What do you think, though, as far as when you look back, what do the Titans need to work on? You being somebody who covers the Titans, for those just tuning in, make sure if y'all haven't subscribed to Mike Patton, because he will be, if I'm not mistaken, he still covers some football, but really getting heavy into basketball coverage, right?
Well, I've definitely got something Thursday brewing up. I've got a special guest coming on, hopefully Thursday. So we're going to talk a little AFC South and a little Colts football. So
okay.
You probably know what I'm talking about at that point, but
oh yeah, definitely. But yeah, so what do the Titans need to do?
As far as the Titans, they need to find a pass rush. That is the number one thing they need to find. Today was kind of atypical of the Titans. They don't usually get this many sacks. They usually maybe get one if they're lucky. So they need to find a pass rush, whether it be in the draft, whether it be free agency. Whatever they need to do, they need to find a pass rush. Offensively, just need to get healthier. And, of course, defensively, of course, they need to find another cornerback, too, because Adoree Jackson is done. The Ravens pretty much were targeting Adoree Jackson the entire game. Every time any pass went up, it was to Adoree Jackson's side. So that ought to tell the Titans he shouldn't be back next year. So definitely got to get rid of him. Got to replace him. Got to get a pass rush or a pass rusher. And then also on offense, you've got to find another wide receiver, because you may not have Corey Davis back next year, especially after he was sitting on the sideline on the last drive with his helmet off, and he was healthy.
Yeah, and the thing with the Ravens, what's going to be important is maintaining that run game. I want to see if they bring in Mark Ingram next week. He was a healthy scratch, mainly because he doesn't play special teams. So you put him, you sit him, and you have Justice Hill going. But I love his attitude. But I wanted to see because he's still under contract next year, so I want to see what they do with him. But definitely moving forward, I think controlling the clock. One of the reasons why Tennessee got a lot of sacks because the way Lamar plays, that drop back, allows when that offensive line crashes in on him, that allows teams to tackle him. So that's one reason. But what they're going to have to do next week, whether it's Tennessee or Buffalo, they're going to be looking. They're going to have to pay attention to the quarterback play, and they're going to have a dynamic receiver way, whether it's Stephon Diggs or Tyreek Hill or even Sammy Watkins. I know some people are in and some people aren't on Sammy Watkins. So we're going to really see what Marlon Humphrey is made of. He's going to have to earn that Pro Bowl extension he just got.
Definitely. He's definitely going to have to earn that. And the guy that's going to be targeted often is Marcus Peters. I mean, I like Marcus Peters' play today. I love the get back at the Titans today. I love that. But he's a guy that's notoriously guessed a lot in his career. It's worked well for him at times, and other times it's got him beat. So that is the thing that I want to watch, whoever they play, whether it be the Bills or the Chiefs. If he's guessing and he's wrong, it's going to be trouble, and it's going to be 6 for somebody.
Yeah, and I think that's what happened the last time. We saw in last year when Earl Thomas was here, and he said that he was going to cut off a lot of the stuff Mahomes was doing, and that burnt him in the end. So the narrative for Lamar Jackson is over, though. He can win. He can win.
You see that comment? You see that comment?
Yeah. Lamar Jackson can win a football game. He can win a playoff game, like they've been saying. This has been playoff football for the Ravens since that loss. Since that loss to the Steelers, it was win or go home. So they needed to get it done. I was, watching 410 Sports Talk Show, which Josh Harris, Lamar Jackson's quarterback coach, was on, and that's what he said. Everybody wants to say, can Lamar win a playoff game? They've been in playoff mode since, and now people say, can they get it done against the good teams? Well, the Tennessee Titans is a good football team. They're division champs, and the Ravens were able to get it done. I'm not a fan of Steve Levy at all. Never was. Nothing personal. Just not a fan of his commentary. Frankly, wasn't a fan of him on SportsCenter. Interacted with him a couple of times. But what I will say is, when he said the Ravens aren't built that way, and they aren't built to come back from down 10-0 because they've never done it before. And a lot of people forget the Ravens were down to the Colts at halftime, and they came back and won. And today they came back and won, and they went on to score. What was it? 17 unanswered points, I believe, or 13 unanswered, something like that. So that was important for them, and that is important for them to move forward. And I mean, they're my Super Bowl pick for obvious reasons, but also I think that they got hot at the right time. They play with a lot of adversity, and I think they'll get it done. Even with like the play where AJ Brown, got tackled when they needed that first down. They look okay. We can't beat him in a hands-on one-on-one match, but you got to be able to tackle, and that's one thing they did today was tackle the big guy, Derrick Henry.
Yeah, Derrick Henry is going to think about this game a lot in the offseason. It's going to be interesting to see, especially if Arthur Smith comes back or doesn't come back. I'm sorry, how this offense looks with Derrick Henry, because I believe if Derrick Henry, if Arthur Smith doesn't come back next year, that this offense will not be as run heavy as it has been this year. I honestly believe that.
Wow. Now, real quick, I know I keep saying real quick. Would you any quick thoughts on the games yesterday?
On which one? I'm sorry.
Any quick thoughts on the games last night and yesterday, the playoff games?
Games last night. Bills did what they were supposed to do. The football team, I actually they hung tight and pushed the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And as far as the other game, I'm trying to remember what the other game was. I'm kind of losing it right now.
Seattle and Los
Yeah.
Angeles.
As far as that game, I was amazed that Russell Wilson looked so ordinary in that game. And Jalen Ramsey did Jalen Ramsey things.
Yeah.
So I expected that, but I just didn't expect that the Seahawks would lose that game. I just didn't expect them to. And shout out to the Rams. You got the best defensive lineman and the best defensive back in the NFL on the same team.
Yeah. I wonder, shout out to Peter tuning in. Peter tuning in from Seattle, one of the CEOs and the leaders here at HAPS, said, the Ravens had a strong showing today. One of the things let me ask you, I got to ask you this, because I don't know if we got a chance to talk about it in the group chat. Do you believe Washington has found their quarterback in Heineke? Is he somebody that you think they should give a look to?
Well, I think they'll give a look to him, and I think they should just based off the performance here. However, do I think he should be the leading candidate? If he's the leading candidate and he's just had one game of a strong showing, then you've got other issues going on, and that's with your personnel people.
and what about what's his name? Deshaun Watson. Rumors are he would accept the trade to the Miami Dolphins. He has a no trade clause. Do you like that move? Especially knowing, what the Dolphins have.
I like that move, actually. He would fit the Dolphins, and I think him and Flores would be a good partnership. However, there's one team I would love to see him go to, and they're one quarterback piece away. And you know what team I'm thinking about already?
Who?
That would be the 49ers.
Oh, absolutely. Can you imagine the Bay Area?
Man, if you put Deshaun Watson in there for Jimmy G, that team is putting up 30 points a game, and they're in the Super Bowl. That's how much I think of Deshaun Watson.
Okay, I believe in him a lot. I would love to see it. Like I said, 49ers are my second favorite team, so he would definitely be fun. See somebody fun to root for. The big main is saying the Bears. Let's say 18 bucks.
That'd be the Saints, man. Don't disappoint yourself, big man. Don't disappoint yourself. And I'll go with it. And I'm going with
Oh, they must be talking
too.
You going to the Cleveland Browns tonight?
Yeah, they're going to win this game 27-24 over the Pittsburgh Steelers tonight.
Oh, okay. That would be interesting. It would send the Ravens to Buffalo, and we could see how good Cleveland is. It's Baker versus Mahomes. That would be a fun matchup to watch.
Yep, that would definitely be a good one, but it'd be more like Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb if they were going to win. Because you definitely can't let Baker throw the football 30 to 40 times and win a game. No.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. So, my thoughts on yesterday's, I thought, I didn't like the Colts, some of their play calls and some of their mistakes, but I also didn't like I wasn't in love with the Bills during that game yesterday either. I thought they did enough to win. But, for instance, I liked what the Rams did yesterday. I like what the Ravens did today. I didn't really care too much for Tom Brady and them. I thought that game could have been won by Washington if they just had a couple more pieces or a couple more things to do. So we shall see.
Right. Shout
out to the defense getting to Tom Brady. And that's the thing. Is Tampa's defense enough to go against perhaps the Saints? I don't think so.
Yeah. We're definitely going to see what happens, right? The playoffs, it's if anything unpredictable happens, we can just say, man, that's so 2020.
Somebody said you look like Myles Garrett.
Well, they're called to look like Myles Garrett now and Golden Tate. So that's two right there, I guess. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, remember my sister said you look like Jussie Smollett.
Oh, Lord, no. I don't understand that one. I don't see it.
Jussie Smollett. Well, we're gonna get out of here. We're gonna let y'all watch football. I'm not sure if I'm coming back on today. Are you?
I probably am. I got to break down the Titans stuff, so I got to break it all down from the Titans' perspective.
Definitely. So make sure y'all tune in as Mike breaks down the Titan stuff. Mike Patton is just still Mike Patton 32. 82. Yeah, Mike Patton 82. Make sure y'all give him a follow on Twitter. Make sure y'all give me a follow. Hit the subscribe button. If you haven't done so, download the Haps app and shoot me a couple coins. Shoot Mike a couple coins. Brother, I appreciate you, man, as always.
No problem, man. I got to get set up. I'll probably be on in about 5-10 minutes.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and roll this footage one more time as I get out of here. And the Ravens getting it done as they did. Let's see. Let's loop that again. A Baltimore stomp all over the Tennessee Titans logo. So long, everybody.